Most people will still be living the exact same life 1 year from now. The same habits, the same excuses, the same problems, the same income, the same frustrations. Not because they're stupid, not because they're lazy, and definitely not because they lack potential. The truth is much simpler than that. Most people never change the three things that actually create success. Now, here's the interesting part. A small group of people will completely transform their lives over the next 12 months. They'll become healthier, more confident, more disciplined. They'll make more money, build stronger relationships, and create opportunities that seem impossible today. From the outside, it will look like they got lucky, but they didn't. And here's the part most people never realize. The third step I'm about to show you is the exact reason millions of people stay stuck for years without understanding why. Miss it, and you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Master it, and your entire future can change. Successful people don't have secret advantages. They don't possess some magical talent that the rest of us don't. What they understand is something most people never learn. Real change doesn't happen because you feel motivated. It doesn't happen because you watched a motivational video. It doesn't happen because you got excited for a few days and promised yourself that this time would be different. Real change happens when you change three specific things. And if you understand these three things, you can completely change the direction of your life. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like you're watching everyone else move forward while you're standing still, if you've ever wondered why some people seem to have everything figured out, this video might explain exactly why. Let's start with the first step. And honestly, this is where almost everyone fails. Step 1, kill your old identity. Most people try to change their lives without changing who they believe they are. They want different results, but they keep telling themselves the same story. I'm bad with money. I'm not disciplined. I'm lazy. I'm unlucky. I'm not one of those successful people. At first, those statements seem harmless, but they're not. Every time you repeat those words, you're casting a vote for the person you currently are. And eventually, your brain accepts that story as reality. Think about it. If you constantly tell yourself you're bad with money, what happens when an opportunity to learn investing appears? You'll probably ignore it, because that's not what someone who's bad with money does. If you believe you're lazy, every difficult task becomes proof that you're lazy. If you believe you're unlucky, every setback becomes evidence that life is unfair. Your identity becomes a prison. And most people never realize they're the ones building the walls. Here's something successful people understand. Your actions follow your identity, not the other way around. A healthy person doesn't wake up every morning trying to be healthy. They simply do what healthy people do. A disciplined person doesn't debate every decision. They simply act like a disciplined person. A successful entrepreneur doesn't constantly wonder whether they should work on their business. They identify as someone who creates opportunities. Their identity drives their behavior, and their behavior creates their results. That's why the first step isn't changing your habits. The first step is changing your story. Stop saying, I'm terrible with money. Start saying, I'm learning how to build wealth. Stop saying, I'm not confident. Start saying, I'm becoming more confident every day. Stop saying, I'm unlucky. Start saying, I create opportunities through my actions. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't motivational nonsense. This is identity shifting. And identity shifting changes everything. Because once your identity changes, your decisions begin changing automatically. You start making choices that align with the person you're becoming, not the person you've always been. Here's a challenge. Take a piece of paper. Write down the 3 most negative beliefs you have about yourself. Be brutally honest. Then rewrite each one as the future version of yourself, not who you are, who you're becoming. That single exercise can completely change the direction of your life. But here's the problem. The moment you start changing your identity, your old life starts fighting back. Your friends might laugh. Your family might question you. People may say you've changed. And they're right. You have changed. But the biggest resistance won't come from other people. It will come from your own brain. Because your brain loves familiarity, even when familiarity is making you miserable. That's why people stay in toxic relationships. Stay in jobs they hate. Stay broke. Stay unhealthy. Stay stuck. The familiar feels safe, even when it's slowly destroying their future. And that's why changing your identity isn't enough. Because if your environment stays the same, your old habits will keep pulling you backward. Which brings us to step number 2. And this is where most people lose the battle before it even begins. Step 2. Design your environment. This may be the most overlooked success principle in the world. Most people think success comes from willpower. They're wrong. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Every single time. Think about New Year's resolutions. Millions of people start the year motivated. They buy gym memberships. They promise themselves they'll eat healthy, save money, wake up early, read more books. And for a few days, everything goes well. Then life happens. Motivation fade. Old habits return. And by February, most people are back where they started. Why? Because they were trying to fight their environment every single day. And eventually, the environment wins. If motivation worked, everyone would already have the life they want. Everyone would be fit. Everyone would be wealthy. Everyone would be disciplined. But motivation is temporary. Environment is constant. Successful people understand this. Instead of relying on motivation, they design their world to make success easier. They make good decisions obvious and bad decisions difficult. Look at your own life. If your kitchen is full of junk food, eating healthy becomes harder. If your phone is sitting beside your bed every night, waking up early becomes harder. If social media is one tap away and your goals are hidden somewhere in the background, productivity becomes harder. Your environment is constantly shaping your behavior, whether you realize it or not. Every object in your life is sending you a signal. Every room is encouraging certain actions and discouraging others. Successful people use this to their advantage. Want to work out more? Put your workout clothes beside your bed. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow. Want to spend less time on social media? Delete the apps. Want to save money? Remove your saved credit card information from shopping websites. Create friction. The easier something is, the more likely you'll do it. The harder something is, the less likely you'll do it. That's human nature. The biggest mistake people make is believing they're stronger than their environment. They're not. Nobody is. Imagine trying to eat healthy while keeping cookies, candy, soda, and chips everywhere in your house. You're forcing yourself to fight temptation every hour of every day. Eventually, you'll lose. Not because you're weak, because you're human. Successful people don't put themselves in that position. They remove temptation before temptation becomes a problem. They build systems instead of relying on self-control. Here's a powerful example. Imagine two people trying to save money. The first person promises themselves they'll save whatever is left at the end of the month. The second person sets up an automatic transfer that moves money into savings every payday. Who wins? Almost always the second person. Why? Because they removed the decision. They designed a system, and systems beat intentions. Every time. The same thing applies to almost every area of life. Want better relationships? Schedule time with the people you care about. Want to learn a new skill? Put learning into your calendar. Want to become healthier? Prepare your meals in advance. Don't leave important things to chance. Design them, because every successful person eventually learns the same lesson. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built inside your environment. But even a new identity and a powerful environment aren't enough, because there's still one thing that destroys most people. Impatience. People want results immediately. They want success now. They want confidence now. They want money now. They want transformation now. And when they don't get it, they quit. Which brings us to the third and most powerful step. The step that separates the people who completely transform their lives from the people who spend years talking about change without ever experiencing it. Step 3. Master the compound effect. And this is where almost everyone fails. Not because the compound effect doesn't work, because they quit before it has time to work. The compound effect is one of the most powerful forces in life. Yet most people completely ignore it. Why? Because it's boring. Because it doesn't create instant results. Because it doesn't give you immediate gratification. And because of that, most people never stick around long enough to experience its power. The compound effect is simple. Small actions repeated consistently over time create massive results. The problem is that the results are invisible in the beginning. Imagine two people. The first person improves by just 1% every day. The second person does nothing. After one day, there's almost no difference. After 1 week, there's still almost no difference. After 1 month, the gap seems tiny. But after 1 year, their lives look completely different. Because success compounds. Just like money invested over time. Just like interest in a bank account. Every small action builds on the previous one. Every workout makes the next workout easier. Every book makes the next book easier to understand. Every difficult decision makes future discipline easier. That's how successful people think. They don't ask, what can I achieve this week? They ask, what can I become if I keep doing this for a year? That's a completely different question. Most people are obsessed with immediate results. Successful people are obsessed with long-term growth. And that's why they eventually pull ahead. Think about how most people approach change. They go to the gym for 5 days, then quit. They save money for 1 month, then quit. They start a side business, then quit. They read 1 book, then quit. Not because the process failed, because the results didn't arrive fast enough. And that's the trap. People think success should feel dramatic, but real success is usually boring. It's showing up when nobody's watching. It's doing the work when you don't feel motivated. It's repeating simple actions long after the excitement disappears. What most people don't understand is that success is invisible at first. For a long time, it looks like nothing is happening. You stay disciplined, you stay consistent, you keep showing up, and it feels like you're getting nowhere. But underneath the surface, everything is changing. Think about planting a tree. The day after you plant the seed, nothing happens. A week later, nothing happens. A month later, still nothing. Most people would assume the seed is dead, but underground, roots are growing. The foundation is being built. The growth is happening where nobody can see it. And then one day, the tree appears above the surface. People call it sudden success. But it wasn't sudden at all. The roots were growing the entire time. The same thing happens in your life. The results are hidden before they're visible. That's why patience is such a powerful advantage. Because most people give up right before the breakthrough. Here's what the process usually looks like. Day 1, you're excited. Day 7, you're still motivated. Day 14, the excitement starts fading. Day 30, you begin questioning everything. Day 60, you notice tiny improvements. Day 90, other people start noticing. Day 180, you're becoming a completely different person. The magic isn't in the beginning. The magic isn't at the end. The magic happens in the boring middle. The days nobody applauds. The days nobody notices. The days you don't feel motivated. The days you don't feel inspired. The days when progress feels invisible. Those are the days that change your life. Because successful people understand something failures never learn. You don't have to feel motivated to take action. You only need to stay consistent. Consistency beats motivation every single time. Motivation comes and goes. Consistency stays. That's why successful people make their habits ridiculously small. They don't try to change everything overnight. They make it impossible to fail. Want to read more? Read 1 page a day. Want to get healthier? Start with a 5-minute walk. Want to learn a new skill? Practice for 10 minutes. Want to save money? Save $1. The goal isn't to impress yourself. The goal is to build momentum. Because momentum changes everything. Once momentum starts, progress becomes easier. Progress creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. Results reinforce your identity. And suddenly all 3 steps begin working together. Your identity changes, your environment supports you, your habits compound, and your life starts moving in a completely different direction. This is the part most people never experience because they quit too soon. They plant the seed, water it for a week, then dig it up to see if it's growing. Successful people don't do that. They trust the process. They keep showing up, even when they can't see results yet, especially when they can't see results yet. And eventually, the results arrive. Not because they're lucky, not because they're smarter, but because they stayed in the game longer than everyone else. And that's the real secret. Success isn't usually about doing something extraordinary. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily consistently. Now, let's put everything together. First, you change your identity. You stop seeing yourself as the person you've always been and start becoming the person you want to become. Second, you design your environment. You make success easier. You make failure harder. You stop relying on willpower and start relying on systems. Third, you master the compound effect. You commit to small actions. You stay consistent. And you trust the process long enough to see the results. When these 3 things come together, something incredible happens. You stop hoping your life will change and start building a better life. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. You stop talking about change and start living it. So here's your challenge. And I want you to do this right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, choose one area of your life you want to improve. Your health, your finance, your relationships, your confidence, your career. Pick one. Now write down who you're becoming in that area, not what you're trying to do, who you're becoming. Then change one thing in your environment today that supports that identity. And finally, choose one small action you repeat every day for the next 30 days. Not a huge action, a small one. Something so easy you can't fail, because that's how transformation begins. Not with a giant breakthrough, not with a lucky opportunity, not with perfect timing, with one small action. Repeated consistently, day after day, month after month, until the person you used to be becomes unrecognizable. Your life won't change overnight. But if you commit to these 3 steps, 30 days from now, you'll feel different. 90 days from now, other people will notice. And 1 year from now, you may be living a life that feels impossible today. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you'll actually do it. Because information doesn't change lives. Action does. The life you want is built by the choices you repeat every day. No excuse. Start today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week, I share ideas about psychology, self-discipline, personal growth, and success that can help you build a stronger mind and a better life. And if this video gave you value, hit the like button. It helps more people discover these ideas. Also, leave a comment below. What's the one area of your life you're going to improve first? I'd love to hear your answer. Remember, the future version of you is being built by the decisions you make today. Choose wisely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.